And welcome to the Loveland Report and the Lone Ranger Show. I am Cleve Loveland along with Bruce Woodburn. We deliver all your real estate and mortgage news. I've been selling real estate in Central Florida for well over 30 years. Bruce has been, I think your first mortgage was carved on the tablets, right? Just like the Ten Commandments. Yep. And we are giving you what is going on. Where are the interest rates? Is this blazing hot market cooling down to a small campfire? Is it going to continue surging? Is it going to be doused by a big bubble and have water pour all over it? Which will cool it down. But no, I think this inventory right now, Bruce, Central Florida's inventory, that report I go over every month, yes, as we do, not doom and gloom and what's happening. I'll give you the real numbers and what's going on, just like I will sitting at your kitchen table talking about your own personal real estate. The numbers for Central Florida, the inventory is holding steady at about just under a 1 month supply. Let's call it a 3 week supply of homes. Anything under 6 months supply is a seller's market where prices will slowly rise. And right now, we've still got slow rise in prices. You know, prices are still going up. I'm getting multiple offers, but as compared to the first and second quarter of the year, I'm getting 1/3 of the offers I used to, so still a hot market, but homes still have to be marketed right, staged right. I help several sellers that listen to this show. They called me going, hey, we should have called you first. They had not sold, and I go in there and it's just a couple fixes, a couple dollars spent. I actually raised the price on a couple of them, and they went. It's not all about price. It's about having an experienced marketer help you get your house on the market.
So, you know what? It's interesting you say that because I'm still seeing houses going up slightly. Not as fast and as sharply as they were. But I was reading Aura's report, which is the Orlando Regional Realtors Association report, and it said that from August to September, that houses have dropped in price by, you know how much?
0.02%.
$2,000. So they went from $320 to $318. So I looked at that and I went, wow, this is the news that people want to hear.
Well, $5 million.
The housing market is crashing. Yeah. The prices are dropping in price.
Well, that's because one $5 million home didn't sell that much in the numbers.
I don't know what that statistic came from, but when I saw $2,000, and I went, you know what, though? Here's the way I look at that, Cleve. That is not bad news. That is not bad news. That's not doom and gloom. That just, we see corrections like that every day. That's like saying, well, the stock dropped from Google from 3,000 to 2,800. Big deal.
Yeah, you're holding it for the long term. Hopefully you are. But this market we're in is it's going to keep going steadily. Now, here's something else, Bruce, I get. You always got to remember, if you hear real estate news, what are they talking about? They're talking about the local market. That would be us. I'll tell you about the national market or the Florida market. This is national news talking about how there's fewer homes for sale and listing inventory dropped again. And so there's less sales than last year in September.
Because there's less houses available.
There's less houses to sell. People kind of waiting. Some people are waiting. And as a buyer, you don't have to panic.
No.
But our buyers get in the car and get a good education. Let's say they're buying at $350. Well, I tell them, I said, we need to look at everything, obviously under $350, but most likely your sweet spot's going to be around $320, $330, where we're going to go 5, 10, 15 over list price. Kind of depends on what you think of it, if it really tickles your fancy or if we think it's really a great buy. And that's where people are looking right now. But people are not paying hundreds of thousands of dollars over list price.
No.
And then
not unless you're buying a $2 million house.
Waiving inspections and putting up non-refundable deposits. So
I do hear about a lot of that happening in other parts of the country, but I'm not seeing a lot of that now. I am seeing like acceleration clauses or somebody might say, I'll agree to pay up to $10,000 over appraised value.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm not seeing a lot of waiving inspections. Very rarely.
Yeah.
Are you seeing much of that?
No. Well, what I've seen is short inspections. And here's the thing: an escalation clause, like you talked about, I look at the buyer's first offer. Because I have them come in at list price, and they say, "Well, we'll go up this high." But I like the buyer that said right up front, "Hey, I'll go $10,000 over list." When I'm looking at those offers I've got on the house now, and I might give them a chance to match it, but then I'm looking at the financing. Are they fast tracked? Do they have a house to sell? I believe it or not, I had a realtor send me something. They sent me an offer, and the buyer's house was not under contract yet. It was not even listed yet.
Oh, and it was a contingency.
And they said, well, we'll sell it. It'll sell no problem in this market. I said, your cart's way out in front of your horse.
Oh, my gosh.
So that's what's important about having a good realtor help you. But I want to ask you, Bruce, stock market's been great for the month of October.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How did the interest rates do?
Well, interest rates actually in the last 3 weeks have popped up about between 160 and 200 basis points, they've gone up. So what happens, though, you have to remember that the bond market, which is what mortgage rates are tied to, generally works as a teeter-totter from equities or stocks, right? So when our stocks are doing really well, that means mortgage rates are likely going to get worse. In a typical scenario, they don't always work that way, but typically if I see the stock market is doing well, I can expect that interest rates are going to go the opposite direction. And that's exactly what happened. Now, this week wasn't too bad. We had some good days in the market, but you have to remember we lost 200 basis points in the last 3 weeks. And that's what does that equate to? That's 2 points that it costs you from what rates were 2 weeks ago. So in other words, let's just say that 2.99 was at 0 points 3 weeks ago. We'll use that as an example. Today, 2.99 would cost you 2 points.
So instead, we take a rate of probably around 3 1/8, 3
So you go to 3 1/8, 3 1/4, and that's really where rates are trending. I'm even seeing them push up to 3.625, depending on credit score. So be cautious. You know, credit score is what dictates your rate.
Well,
the lender doesn't dictate your rate.
And that's why I hear the bait and switch all the time. They'll get from pressing a button online.
Oh, my gosh.
And they'll get the bait and switch. I don't take online lenders for my contracts.
I see it all the time. I'll have a client go, oh, I just got quoted this online company. It quoted me 2.875. And I pull them up and I'm like, dude, you have a Fannie Mae risk-based pricing adjustment of 1.75. There's no possible way that's going to happen. But what happens is people are attracted to what sounds the best.
It's shiny.
It's just like a realtor saying that, hey, I can get $50,000 more for your house than Cleve. Well, they can say that. And they can put it on the market for that, but it doesn't really mean they're going to get it. And it's the same thing with an interest rate. And people will call me Cleve and they'll go, well, they can't do that. They can't quote me a rate and change it. Oh, yes, they can. Yes, they can.
Oh, yeah.
You can change it. Absolutely, they can do that. And they do that. That's why you want to choose somebody to help you with your mortgage that's got a long standing in the area. Matter of fact, Cleve, I'd like to give out our numbers. You can reach me at 407-250-9144. That's 407-250-9144. Or go directly to my website, the easiest online application ever at WeBringYouHome.com. That's WeBringYouHome.com. Cleve, what's your
407-352-8118 or CleveLoveland.com or LovelandReport.com, 352-8118. Now, Bruce, I get a bunch of emails every week, and they're asking me sometimes, we'll get into it, and I found a gentleman, sadly, just got divorced, and there was a bunch of equity in the home, or he's getting divorced, and I said, well, don't sell the home, refi it, get some equity out. But I talk to people all the time when I get these email questions, and it's not always best to sell the house, or it's not always best to refinance right then. You'll tell them.
But it's best to examine your options.
Yeah, let them know.
Right?
So
some people they should sell, and some people you absolutely should not sell.
Yeah.
Right? But there's no one size fits all.
But you'll let somebody know on refinancing. A lot of people, like you talk about, like 80% of the people out there need to and haven't.
Right.
Like you'll let them know should they or should they not.
If it's not the right thing to do, if it doesn't save you money,
pay off a bunch of debt,
or solve a problem, then don't do it. But I'm seeing people get sucked into these commercials that are I'm getting bombarded by mortgage commercials. I get phone calls from mortgage companies telling me they can refinance me and save me money.
And the letters in your mailbox and the text messages,
And listen, don't get sucked into that stuff. Go with somebody that's tried and true and tested. Check my Google reviews, 4.5. My Zillow reviews, 5.0.
Yep.
So you want somebody you can count on. Choose somebody that might be the right one to say, you know what, John, I don't think refinancing is the right thing for you to do. Let's just stick with what you have and throw an extra $150 a month at your mortgage.
Yep.
That might be my answer.
Bruce, I had this article come out of the Florida Realtor magazine, and it talks about programs for homeownership assistance, because you don't need 20% down. I think most people listening to the show know that. As a buyer, you don't have to have 20% down.
No.
Investment property, you don't have to have 20% down either if you listen to our wealth seminar. Yes. And we'll let you know about the next time one of those is coming up. But what kind of programs do you have? Like, what can people get into a house for?
Well, let's start with the lowest down payment option, which is 0 down payment. Now, if you're a veteran and you're qualified and you served your time as in active duty for 4 years or Reserve or National Guard for 6 years, and you're eligible, then you're no down payment. You have no down payment. The only other zero down payment loan that's a good loan, there's some trickery out there. Okay, there's some trickery loans out there that will be like the old Nehemiah programs where it's like, you can get these down payment assistance to bring you to 100%, but your rate's going to be 6 3/4.
Yeah, okay.
So, but aside from those things, so don't get sucked into things that sound too good to be true. However, your next zero down payment is USDA, and it's a great loan.
Yep.
It's not designed and not really for the credit challenged person, because you got to have decent credit to get it. But the mortgage insurance is almost nothing. It's very small, and it's 100% financing. And if it appraises for over purchase price, you can add closing costs into the mortgage. And it's the only type of loan you can do that on a purchase. Okay. Refinances, we can do that.
Well, that's good. That sounds good.
Your next low down payment would be conventional 3% down. Another loan that's designed for people that have decent credit, low debt ratios. But here's the thing, Cleve, you get a reduced interest rate and reduced mortgage insurance, and you're only putting 3% down.
That's really good.
And then for those that are more credit challenged or have high ratios but have good credit, have high debt ratios, FHA, love an FHA loan. I get so many people into homes with FHA that never thought they could buy. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I don't have a credit score requirement on FHA. Mm-hmm. I mean, Chase, my son, closed one with a 511. I told him it would never happen. And the dude, just to prove me wrong, like I'm telling you, it took a few years out of the boy. Okay. It was not an easy loan, but he closed a 511. I don't think I've ever closed a 511.
I've never heard of that.
I've never. And then he closed a 561, and I'm like, dude, where are you finding these people?
Was this guy in witness relocation? He assumed the identity of something, had a 500 credit score?
I don't.
Good God.
I got to tell you something. So here's the thing. I'm not saying that everybody that's, and by the way, if you're below 580, you have to put 10% down. That's the guidelines.
Yep.
You have to put 10% down.
But if you know these rurules. The thing is to call somebody that will help you go through these rules.
My team is highly trained for that. Just call me at 407-250-9144, 407-250-9144, or webringyouhome.com. That's my cell number. You can call me right there. You can reach Cleve at 407-352-8118. That's 407-352-8118. We'll get you fixed up. And here's what we're talking about. Remember, the last few weeks we were doing, we will have you into a house by Thanksgiving.
The turkey transaction.
Okay, so now we're at the end of December. We're at the end of October. It's October 30th today, right? Yep. It's a beautiful Saturday.
Yep.
Now I say, why don't we get you into a home before New Year's? I can do that. I can get you into a home before New Year's. And listen, you got to think about this. We have the month of November and the month of December with a load of holidays in there.
Yep.
I can still get you into a home, no problem, by New Year's.
Well, everybody should own one. And if you think about that new one, I can get you into your new one. We can leapfrog you out of your old house. I can get that managed for you as an investment property, make you some money, take over your wealth, show you how to build a portfolio of rental properties, and we can rent the old house. You know the history on it. You know it's good. You got a mortgage that's already starting to be paid down. It's at a good rate. It's not a rental, because investment properties rates are in the 4s, right? Not in the 3s.
Yep.
So we can help you with that, but now's a great time to shop.
And
These
even
home
if you
prices
don't
are
own
not
a
going
home,
down.
like if you're a first-time home buyer, you and I we love helping first-time home buyers.
Great.
Yeah, we got about 20 seconds left in this segment. When we come back from the next break, first of all, we didn't finish about the houses that are on the market because there's information from builders that I want to share in the next segment. And then the next thing that I want to talk about in the next segment is who the sponsor of the K92-3 All-Star Jam is. I think it's coming up on December 10th. I want to talk about that when we come back. We'll be back in 5 minutes with more of Cleve, Loveland, and the Lone Ranger Radio, or the Loveland Report.
And we are back on with the Lone Ranger and Cleve Loveland, Central Florida's voice of real estate. We've got a couple listings here real quick I want to go over with you because these will probably be sold by the time we finish this show. No, just kidding.
They might be.
I'm teasing these because a couple of them aren't even, they're going on the market. But I've got 2 acres in Eustis, 3,000 square feet for $635, no HOA, massive home on 2 acres, gated property. I've got a condominium in Winter Park for $398.
Well, wait a minute. How much is the first one you just said?
$635.
Okay,
$635.
And you have how many acres?
That's on 2 acres, no HOA.
And how many square feet is that?
3,000 square foot home.
That's a big house.
Yep. And then I've got Spring Oaks. Now this is your starter home in Orlando. This is a house. It's funny because these people bought it 3 years ago for $260, $259. This is gonna go on the market at $330 and be gone.
Now, is that Orlando or is that Altamont?
This is Altamont. I will have multiple offers on this in Spring Oaks. Nice ranch.
You sold another one in there recently.
I just did. So this one's a little smaller. That one went for $350. And then I've got a duplex. You want to talk about getting smart and building your wealth? You can live in one side. Most people won't do it. This is in Winter Park, right next to Whole Foods. Okay. Whole Foods popped up right behind this property, and the values have skyrocketed. The rents are skyrocketing. And it's $470,000 for two bedroom, 1 bath units.
What could you get for each of those sides?
Right now we get $1,350 on one, and probably dressed up a little more. Probably get $15, $16.
Okay.
I mean, it's just the area. It's just rents are exploding right now,
right.
Just like prices are. Well,
so here's the thing I like about that: you could get into that home for little money down. You like if you lived in one side, you can buy it as your primary, use the subject property rent to help you qualify.
Yep.
And then as long as you live in it for at least 1 year, you could rent the other side and go buy.
Sounds familiar.
There's your leapfrog program.
That sounds familiar, Bruce. So
it does.
Tell us about. We got time. Tell us about new construction, real quick.
I will. Before I do that, I want it because there's something important. But if you have a question for Cleve and you want him to look at your listing, call him at 407-352-8118 or go to cleveloveland.com. Or you can always check with me. I'll run the financing for you, let you know what you're qualified for. I've got an amazing team of folks that will help you 7 days a week, 407-250-9144 or webringyouhome.com. So, Cleve, I was reading the numbers when I saw that housing prices in Central Florida had dropped by $2,000. I almost fell off my chair. Like, that is like non-news.
I'm surprised that wasn't like on every headline on every TV station.
Right. It wasn't on CNN, right? Then right after that, I got the new housing report. So this is new construction because a lot of new construction.
I need that. I've been trying to find those numbers forever.
Well, a lot of new construction doesn't show up in MLS.
No, it's not in MLS,
which doesn't report in those numbers.
Yep.
So here was what was fascinating. New construction rose by just under 100,000 extra homes in 1 month.
This is the country.
This is nationally.
Nationally.
So they went from 702,000 to $801,000. So that was that's a 1 month
increase. Is that
increase.
Closed or permits pulled?
You know what? It said new housing starts. So I'm
they're
assuming
started. They're done. They're coming out.
Or they're under contract. It could be closings. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you I know, but I'll pull it up when we get off the air and you can look at it.
Well, that's good. I mean, because about not a third, probably 25% of our market in Central Florida, maybe less, is I think maybe 20% is new homes.
I'd say so.
Selling.
Right now, it might even be higher than that.
Well, it's probably lower right now because I can't supply them, and that's what's driving the resale prices
Well,
up.
I got to tell you, my friends at Hanover Family Builders, and if you want a great builder, family-owned company, listen, they wrote 100 contracts last month. 100 contracts last month on their new construction. That's tell incredible. Me builders aren't opening up. I talked to my friend Matt Oros, who's one of the owners of Hanover Family Builders, and he's like, dude, we are going to open up the floodgate, and guess what you get? If you buy a home at Hanover, they pay your closing costs for you by using my
they got some great new developments. I passed a couple of their signs last week.
18 developments right now, and they're opening up, I think, 4 more, and it's all in Central Florida. Like it's from St. Cloud, Davenport, all the way to, we got Celery Oaks over there in Sanford.
Well, I saw one right on the edge of Orange County, Mount Dora, probably a Mount Dora address, but it's Orange County. That's the last piece of land undeveloped, just west of the 429, which is blowing up. The whole 429 circle all the way up to I-4, that's going to get all built on. And then this is like the last piece of land out 441 between Mount Dora. So you're 10 minutes from Orlando and 10 minutes from Mount Dora.
We'll be back in 5 minutes with more of Cleve Loveland and the Lone Ranger Radio Show.
And we are back with Cleve Loveland, Central Florida's voice of real estate, and the Lone Ranger, helping you with all of your mortgage and real estate needs. We can tell you about how to get your house on the market. We can tell you how to get a mortgage. We can tell you should you refinance. We can help you refinance, pull some cash out, pay off all those bills, pay off the Harley, pay off the car, all kinds of things. Yep. And so one thing I want to ask you, Bruce, here, you taught me something, and I did not know this was possible. VA loans.
Yes. What about them?
I remember a gentleman calling in, pranking my mom on the air. Now, earlier he was wrong. Back in 1995, one of our first years on the air, and he said that he asked, how many VA loans can you have? And my mom's like, well, one, of course. That's not true.
No, you can have.
Tell everybody about that.
Well, VA does not limit you. You could have as many VA loans as you want. You can even have more than one VA loan simultaneously. Mm-hmm. But what happens is VA loan gives you an allotment of money to use. So, and that allotment, they give it to you in a formula. So you look at it and it goes, well, they only give you $36,000. That's a factor. It's a dollar amount times a factor. Mm-hmm. So right now, VA loans coming January will go up to $625,000. Right now, they're $543,000. But you could have a $200,000 loan outstanding, mm-hmm. and another $300,000 transaction that you want to buy, and you could go 100%.
So somebody could leapfrog, or if they got transferred.
As long as it's a primary residence.
They're moving to their primary.
Right, now, but you can turn around and rent it later. There's nothing that stops you from that.
Yeah, works perfect for leapfrog, but does that second house have to have a down payment or still nothing down?
No, zero down.
Really?
Zero down. The only time a down payment comes into play is when you exceed your VA limit.
Okay.
So let's just say, I'll give you an example. Let's just say that the VA limit is $543,000 right now, and you wanted to buy a $700,000 house.
You'd need $157,000 down.
No, you wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
No, you wouldn't. And that's the thing. So let's just say, what did we say, a $700,000 house?
Yep.
So that's a $150,000 difference, right?
Yeah, 157. Yeah.
You would need 25% of the difference.
Oh, okay.
So if you got if 150, right, 150 at 25%, so that's $37,500. Yep. You could get into a $700,000 house for $37,500.
Yeah, it comes out to about 3%. Yeah.
That's assuming you have all your VA eligibility. Yep. Now, here's the thing: you can go higher than that now. Like you can go up. We'll go up to $1.5 million on a VA loan. You can do that. It becomes what's called a jumbo VA, but you can still do that, and you can oftentimes go up to 100% financing, assuming there's a trick. It's called the blue water. You have no outstanding VA loans. So remember, we talked about stacking them.
Yep.
You can't go to $1.5 million by stacking.
Not many people might do that, but yeah.
No, but look at, if I was a veteran and I qualified to buy a house for $1.5 million, I'm going to use my VA and zero down. Why would I do that even if I had 20% to put down? Why would I do that?
Because your 20% is going to be a lot of money.
Because I can save that 20% and keep it in the market and make way more money
than 3%.
Than the payment difference was on that on your down payment.
Yep.
Way more money.
Yep.
So, and matter of fact, you and I have a client that we closed recently, and he wanted to do that. It wasn't VA, but it was conventional. And I said, put 5% down, dude. Don't put 25% down. Yeah. Why are you doing that? He goes, oh, no. It's going to lower my payment. I don't want the PMI. I looked at him and I said, how much did you make in the market last year? Yeah. How much you make the year before? We put that number together, and he went, oh, my God. I never realized.
Yeah, you got to use some leverage there. But here, why does CrossCountry have all these products? And I hear, because I have lenders knocking on my door and sending me emails all the time, and they're always bragging about their products. And I'm like, well, do you have this? And do you have this? Do you have this? And it's funny because they're like, look at me with a blank stare, like I'm talking.
You know, it's interesting that you say that, because CrossCountry, and I had my own company for 17 years. I've managed other mortgage companies, S&Ls. I've been in this business for a long time. the owner of CrossCountry, which is out of Cleveland, is so progressive on making sure that if there's a loan to be made, we're going to make the loan.
Great.
So now we're a direct lender. Okay, we're not the biggest in the country, but I think we're running like 7 right now, maybe somewhere in that area. But he has gotten so aggressive that he didn't want credit limits, or he didn't want credit scores on FHA because FHA doesn't require it, but most of your banks do. Yeah. I just hired a girl from a credit union. She said, we wouldn't touch that for under 660 credit score. I'm like, 660? That's a golden client on FHA. I'll take those all day long. Right? So those are the things that you can do now. But you asked me, you were talking about jumbos. And I told you last week when you fell off your chair, I said, we just came up with a jumbo loan.
Yep.
Up to $1.5 million. You don't have to be a veteran.
Yep.
3.5% down.
That's just nuts.
Rates in the 3s.
Yep.
No PMI.
That's incredible.
3.5%. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Now, granted, this is not for bad credit score people. It's for good credit scores, and you have to have good reserves. Reserves are your monthly payment times 24.
Yeah.
So it's pretty substantial.
Instead of 6
reserves.
or 12. Yeah.
Yeah. Typical jumbo is going to be, but it's typical jumbo is 20% down.
Yeah.
Right. But my jumbo rates are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal if you got the 20%, but you want to keep your money, keep your money.
Well, that's one way that's just what's important about calling you and I about if you want to do this right, call people that have been doing it for 30 years. Bruce, this time of year, what people need to do also, you know what we got coming up? End of the year, we got tax planning. Tax planning. And this is a time, so when everybody gets their forms and their W-2 or they're self-employed and they want to buy a new house next year or they want to get on Leapfrog with us and buy another house, they need to talk to you before they finalize their tax returns. Because you got the guy that, like you said, he drives the F-250 dually, and he's got the $80,000 King Ranch, F-250, and I don't even know. I'm probably saying the wrong ones here.
Whatever
I don't drive a truck.
I think the point came across.
Yes, but he shows he makes $25,000 on his tax returns.
Yeah, I know. I made $500,000 last year. No, you only made $25,000
on your taxes. Yeah,
right.
On your tax returns. That's what counts. But you can help people say, all right, if this is the house you want, we need to show this much income.
For sure.
You guys are doing that for me right now.
Absolutely. So here's the thing. I'm not in the business of coaching you how to cheat the system, but I am in the business of saying, hey, you didn't have to write off $300,000 worth of expenses. That was ridiculous. Pay some more taxes, show more income, and get a good rate. Or for all those of you out there right now that are driving that F-150, you own your own company, you got great credit, you got a bunch of money in the bank, but you don't show any income on your tax returns. I know who you are. I don't care. It's no judgment.
Yeah.
But I have a program. All I'm going to do is look at your bank statements for the last 12 or 24 months. I'm going to average your deposits, and I'll use 50% of that. You don't need tax returns. So you can go ahead and show the IRS that you're only making $25,000.
Yeah.
But if you're making more and you want a loan, I don't need tax returns.
Now, one of the other ways to save on your taxes, too, with Leapfrog, you end up with a Schedule C on those rental properties.
Or E, Schedule E. Yep.
And so those are like running little businesses.
They are
because
running
a lot
businesses.
of people, if you've got a house probably below household, maybe below, your mortgage is below $300,000, you might not be itemizing.
No,
because you get the standard, thanks to the Trumpster, you get the standard $24,000 family tax credit, that standard deduction there. But even if you get that standard deduction, you use that, and you have a rental property, that's going to help you on your taxes if your income's below $150,000.
Absolutely.
So that's one of the advantages of owning a rental property.
When we like to refer people to good tax preparers and CPAs. If you have a question and you'd like a good referral, or if you're amazing and you'd like Cleve and I to interview you, if you are in that business, give us a call. We love connecting people with great people. You can reach me at 407-250-9144. Stop the car, write that down, pull the lawnmower off to the side, put the edger down, put the vacuum cleaner down, and write down that number, 407-250-9144, or webringyouhome.com, or call Cleve
at 407-352-8118. Remember, one of those rooftops up and down the street, my family or I have probably helped sell it, buy it, or manage it.
And here's what Cleve and I are committed to. All of you folks out there that are renting right now, if you're a renter, okay, There is no reason to be a renter anymore. You have to stop that. And listen, you may have been saying for years, yeah, I just haven't got around to it. I hadn't fixed my credit. I didn't pay that thing off. I went through a bad divorce. How many stories have we heard? Like a million stories, right?
But I hear new ones.
I don't care what your story is, and I don't mean I don't care. I care very much. What I'm saying is that let's get beyond the story and get into home ownership. I can get you into a home before New Year's. We just start now. Just go to my website, do the online application. We have enough time. I got 30 days to fix your credit junk, and then we can have 30 days to close on the transaction. Let's start 2022 with you as a homeowner. And if you are an adult, if you are a parent that have adult children or grandchildren, help them out with a gift of down payment. It's better than you waiting to die to give them your inheritance and they're going to go buy a Boston Whaler and a Harley and spend all your hard-earned retirement money. Why don't you gift them a gift of equity on a house? How about that? Isn't that a great idea?
There's probably a bunch of loan reps talking out there right now saying that's witchcraft. You can't do that.
Yes, you can. You can have a gift from a family member is a complete legitimate source of down payment. It has to be documented, but it's a legitimate source. And I'm going to tell you something. I want to make sure that I help as many people in my lifetime, as many people as I can become homeowners, because I know one thing. As a 10th grade dropout, I know that if it wasn't for real estate, I wouldn't be in the financial position.
You'd still be in that power. You had that van.
I would still be in my Chevy van
with Merlin the Magician painted on the side,
with the shag carpet and the Pioneer Super Tuner and the Mind Blower speakers. That's what I would be in, right? So, yes,
and a very nice campfire going out back.
And I had hair too. I had lots of hair then.
And Bruce, I just want to make a note here. We heard in the news this week that Shaq finally sold his house, and this is. It's not many people have. It's sold for $11 million.
Tell that story about that call, right?
Well, the realtor actually was on. I read it in the paper. The realtor was just answering the phones at the office, and Shaq called and said, "I want you to sell my house." And it's a sharp young man, so he got the listing, and it sold. But my point is, at 11, it was listed for $16.5 million, sold for 11.
Originally, it was listed for almost
like 28. Okay. It was on the market for 3 years. Now, obviously, not many people can afford a home up over $1 million, let alone $11 million, but what you need to know as a realtor when you go on the market, I've walked away from listings like that. I talked to Shaq when he wanted to go to $24 million.
Right.
I wouldn't do it.
No.
It's just it wasn't going to go. So, and you've got to look at market absorption. And when you don't know what market absorption is, first of all, sellers, if you want to ask your realtor that and they look at you with a blank stare, get another realtor. It's how fast are homes selling around you. Yes. And so when I sit down and look at a house, these listings I talk about, I've done that with my sellers. Say, okay, you've got a duplex in Winter Park. What are the duplexes within 10 miles of you selling for? Or 5 miles? How many duplexes are out there? What are they priced at? How good are we compared to that? And then once it's on the market, here's the important part, Bruce. We're in the hottest real estate market ever.
Yes.
If something's not selling after about a month or two, now that's not. I'm not talking mega luxury like that. That was $11 million. I'm talking your average house in Central Florida, 300 to 600. People start calling me and asking me, if you got a listing like that, they're looking for a chalk outline on the floor. Was this a murder scene?
Sure.
And so you've got to know market absorption and what's going on and listening to feedback. Is it because all the trees in the front yard are dead? So if you have any questions about market absorption, or even more importantly, list price to sales price ratio, that'll just blow your mind. Call me at 407-352-8118 or go to lovelandreport.com.
And at the end of the day, that terminology may not mean a lot to you, but here's what it does mean. It means that when you have your real estate agent understand it, it's like you don't need to understand what an accountant knows. You just have to have a good accountant, right?
Yep.
So when you hire Cleve, you're going to get the results that somebody gets that knows their market and knows terminology and knows how to navigate. So just call Cleve at 407-352-8118 or call the Loan Arranger, Bruce Woodburn, proud sponsor of the 26th annual K92.3 All-Star Jam coming on December 10th. I'm super excited about that. Don't forget, you got to buy your tickets, man. They may even be sold out by now, but I am the proud sponsor, and I'm super excited about that. We'll be back in 5 minutes with more of the Loveland Report and the Loan Arranger in just a few minutes. Well, I tell you what, I heard that toilet flush on there, but that wasn't the sound bite that we were.
Thank you for listening to the Loveland Report and the Loner Ranger, where we deliver all your Central Florida real estate news and what's going on in the world of real estate and mortgages. And one last thing here, Bruce, in our last segment, I want to ask you about, this is happening. We've got a lot of people doing this. We've got our snowbirds that come here. And because real estate is doing so well, people are kind of like, okay, maybe I can get a second home here, and I can rent it out when I'm not here, or they want a second home. What's involved in that mortgage? I need 20% down. What's involved?
No, not for a second home. Now you have to remember, don't buy a second home and then turn around and rent it out, because that's mortgage fraud. You can't do that. Now there is some loopholes where you could rent it a little bit here and there, but you can't do long-term leases and buy a second home till you've owned it for 1 year.
Like Airbnb it for a little?
But here's the thing. We get a lot of snowbirds coming down here. And you guys think our houses are all going up in price? Our northerners and California people and from Colorado think that we're still giving houses away at the prices that we're at right now. So, but you can get into a second home, conventional loan, 10% down.
Okay.
10% down. And here's what I typically do. If you've got a high credit score borrower and the borrower says, you know what, I want to put down maybe 20. That's okay. You can put down 20. You can do that on a second home. You can put down 10. On 10, you're going to pay private mortgage insurance.
Okay.
But most people are under the assumption that once you hit 20% in equity, your private mortgage insurance drops off. And that is true on a primary. It's not true on a second home.
Oh.
So what I do.
Again, you educate me.
Listen to this. Here's what I do. I got this great program, and it's called Single Premium Mortgage Insurance. Now, don't use that if you're not going to keep the house for at least 5 years. But if you're going to, instead of paying any mortgage insurance on it.
Rates just a little higher?
No. Rates can be the same. I don't like lender paid, because then it does increase the rate. Use what's called borrower paid single premium PMI, and you pay a one-time fee that equates to 3.2 years approximately. It might be 3.3, 3.15, but it's right in around.
That's worth it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So if you're going to keep the house for 5 years, you don't have to refinance it to get rid of the PMI. You don't have to fight the bank and try to fight an appraisal that they disagree with to try to get the PMI removed. You just pay it in one shot, and it's a fraction of the price. It's a great deal. 407-250-9144. Ask the Loner Ranger a question. Stump the Chump. I like it when you call me Stump the Chump. Throw one at me. I'll figure it out for you. 407-250-9144 or WeBringYouHome.com. I want to get you into a home. I want you to stop renting right now and let me get you into a home so you can start 2022 as a homeowner. What do you say about that?
Yeah, there's no rich renters out there.
There is no such thing.
I have not met one.
That's because if you're a rich renter out there, you call Cleve and I, and we'll put you on the air.
Now, this doesn't count if you're 95 in the assisted living.
Well, of course not. I mean, you can't. And I had a client do that. He goes, well, my uncle's rich as heck, and he rents. Yeah, but he's 95. He owned 25 properties throughout his lifetime. That's how he got rich, right?
Well, we appreciate you listening to us to get all your real estate information. And this is why, Bruce, you just taught me several new things in this show that I didn't even know. And that's why I've got you as my mortgage expert. I don't need somebody that's an expert in everything. You're my mortgage expert.
Well, I'm not an expert in anything but mortgages.
Well, and I know all about real estate. And, that's why I think we work hard at our team to get homes sold here in Central Florida. We appreciate you guys listening. If you need anything, call me at 407-352-8118, 352-8118. Remember, we sell more homes in 1 month than most realtors sell in a year.
That is a true statement. And if you have any questions or you'd like to apply online, just go to WeBringYouHome.com, WeBringYouHome.com. I've been in the mortgage business for 33 years, 32 and a half years, almost 33 years. I've closed over 10,000 transactions. I don't tell you that to impress you. I tell you that to impress upon you that you are in great hands with the Loner Ranger. WeBringYouHome.com or 407-250-9144. We will be back next week, same time, same place.